If you own a home in Canada and you're over 60, listen closely, because starting this year, something changed that almost nobody explained clearly. It's not a total ban on owning your own home, but it is a real ban that affects how you can buy again, how banks look at your income, and how thousands of Canadian seniors are being turned away from mortgages they thought they qualified for. Before we go further, if you find this channel helpful, please take a moment to subscribe. It genuinely motivates us to keep bringing you accurate, easy-to-understand pension and homeowner news without the confusion you find everywhere else. My name is here on CPP OAS Weekly Update, and today we're breaking down exactly what this new rule means, who it affects, and what you need to do before it catches you off guard. Let's start with the basics. Canada's banking regulator is called OSFI. That stands for the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. Most people have never heard of them, but OSFI controls the rules that every major Canadian bank must follow when they approve a mortgage. And starting this year, OSFI made a significant change to something called the Capital Adequacy Requirements Guideline. In simple terms, this decides how banks are allowed to count your income when you apply for a second, third, or investment property mortgage. Here's why this matters to you. In the past, if you already owned a home and wanted to buy a second property, maybe a rental, maybe a place for your children, maybe a retirement condo, banks could use the same income to help you qualify for multiple mortgages at once. That is now ending. Under the new rule, if you're using income, whether it's your pension, your CPP, your OAS, or rental income from a property you already own, that income must now be reduced or adjusted when the bank looks at qualifying you for an additional mortgage. In plain language, banks can no longer let you double count your income the way they used to. And for retired homeowners living on fixed pension income, this is a very big deal. Stay with me because in a moment, I'll explain exactly how this could affect your own plans, especially if you were hoping to downsize or help a family member buy a home. Let's talk about why this rule exists in the first place. Canadian banking regulators have been watching the housing market carefully. Investment properties and second homes have become a bigger part of the market than ever before. And regulators became worried that some buyers were stretching their finances too thin, using the same limited income to qualify for property after property. So OSFI stepped in to tighten the rules. And this change quietly started rolling out in the first quarter of this year, catching a lot of homeowners, especially retirees, by surprise. Now here's something most videos on this topic are not telling you. This rule does not just affect wealthy investors. It affects ordinary retired Canadians who simply wanted to buy a small rental property, help a grandchild get into the housing market, or purchase a second, smaller home for their retirement years. If you're living on a fixed income from CPP, OAS, or a pension, and you were counting on that income to qualify for a new mortgage while still holding your current home, this new rule could reduce how much you're approved for. In some cases, it could mean the difference between qualifying and being turned away entirely. Let's pause here for a second, because there's another major change happening at the very same time, and this one is federal, not just banking related. Canada's ban on foreign home buyers, first introduced back in 2022, has now been extended again. It was originally supposed to expire, but the federal government has pushed the expiry date all the way to January 1st, 2027. This means non-Canadians are still restricted from purchasing most residential properties across the country, especially in cities and larger towns. If you've ever wondered why certain buyers seem to have disappeared from the market in your area, this ban is a big part of the reason. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Does this ban actually help Canadian homeowners like you? In some ways, yes. It keeps foreign investment pressure lower in the housing market, but it does not fix the mortgage qualification problem we just talked about. So here's the real picture forming in 2026. On one hand, foreign buyers are still locked out until at least 2027. On the other hand, Canadian seniors themselves are facing tighter rules when trying to use their own income to buy a second property. It's a strange contradiction, isn't it? The market is being protected from outside buyers, while everyday Canadian retirees are finding it harder to qualify for financing. refinancing. Let's shift now to something very practical, because I want this video to actually help you, not just inform you. If you currently own your home and you're thinking about buying another property, whether it's a rental unit, a retirement condo, or a place closer to family, here is what you need to do right now. First, speak with your bank or mortgage broker before making any offers. Ask them directly how the new OSFI rule affects your specific income sources. Every bank may apply the adjustment slightly differently, so getting a clear written explanation matters. Second, gather documentation of all your income sources. This includes your CPP statement, your OAS payment amount, any workplace pension, and any rental income you already receive. Having this organized in advance will save you time and stress. Third, if you're relying heavily on rental income from an existing property to qualify for a new one, ask your lender exactly how much of that income will now be counted, since it may be reduced under the new capital rules. Now, here's a curiosity point worth remembering for later in this video. There's actually a workaround some retirees are using, and it involves a specific type of mortgage refinancing program that most seniors don't know exists. I'll explain that shortly. Let's also talk about property taxes, because this ties directly into the ban language many headlines are using this year. Across several provinces, property tax deadlines and homeowner grant claims are tightening. In British Columbia, for example, homeowners must claim their homeowner grant before the payment deadline, or they lose the reduction entirely, which can be worth several $100s. Miss that deadline and you're not banned from owning your home, but you are effectively losing a benefit you were entitled to simply because of a paperwork timeline most people don't track closely. This is exactly why we call this a quiet ban. It's not a dramatic government announcement banning homeownership outright. It's a series of smaller rule changes, tighter income counting, stricter grant deadlines, and extended foreign buyer restrictions, all stacking together in 2026 to make things harder for ordinary Canadian homeowners, especially seniors on fixed incomes. Now let's go back to that workaround I promised to explain. Some Canadian homeowners are using secondary suite refinancing programs, which allow you to borrow against your existing home up to a higher loan-to-value ratio, specifically to build or renovate a secondary suite, like a basement rental unit. This program can provide additional income-producing space without needing a brand new mortgage on a second property. For seniors who want extra income without navigating the new OSFI qualification rules, this has become a popular alternative. It's worth discussing with your bank if you're in this situation. Let's also address something important. If you're on GIS, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, any new income from a rental property or secondary suite must be reported, since it can affect your GIS eligibility the following year. This is often overlooked, and it can lead to unexpected clawbacks if you're not careful. So before you make any big property decisions this year, it's worth calculating how new income might affect not just your mortgage approval, but your GIS payments as well. Let's bring this all together now. In July 2026, Canadian seniors are facing a combination of changes. Mortgage income counting rules have tightened under OSFI. The foreign buyer ban has been extended to 2027. Property tax grant deadlines remain strict, with real financial consequences for missing them. And any new rental income can affect government benefits like GIS. None of this means you are banned from owning your home, but it does mean the path to buying again, refinancing, or generating extra income from property has become noticeably more complicated this year. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Don't assume the old rules still apply. Things have changed quietly but significantly, and the seniors who protect themselves are the ones who ask the right questions early before signing anything. If this video helped clear up the confusion around this topic, please give it a thumbs up. It genuinely helps this channel reach more seniors who need this information. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to CPP OAS Weekly Update. Every week, we break down exactly what's changing with your pension, your benefits, and now your homeownership rights in plain, honest language you can trust. Drop a comment below and let us know, are you personally affected by these new mortgage rules? Are you thinking about buying a second property, or has this changed your plans for this year? I read every comment, and your questions often become the topic of our next video. Speaking of next videos, next week we're covering a major update to CPP payments that could increase your monthly amount, and most people don't even know they qualify. You will not want to miss that one. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, take care of your home, and I'll see you in the next video.